but I also was such a foreigner and someone that didn't belong and someone that was viewed as, oh, here's this guy that's going to come here. He's going to give up. We're going to make him give up, you know? So I was very much an outsider until I showed them I proved myself, you know. That was, once that happened, I was like, I'm just surrounded in that same kind of mentality, that same outlook on what this is, why we're doing it.
What else? What else is, from your experience, what stands out about the Thai mentality that is a difference from the Western style of Thai training or Muay Thai training or even martial arts training in general? Like how else does the Thai mentality differ from the West?
Well, their focus certainly, and nobody's there for any other reason other than to fight and to get better at fighting. Nobody's there to be on Instagram. Nobody's there for how their peers are going to view them. I mean, they're all there. That's their job. It's their life. It's their death. It's 100% focus. Nobody's fucking around. Nobody's playing around. Nobody's off, you know, gossiping or talking or screwing around. Like, you're fucking training your ass off from the moment you get there to the moment you leave. And that's it. And to be surrounded by that and immersed in that mentality is I mean, everything. I mean, because that's the mentality that I had. So to be able to go there and be surrounded by people who are at such a higher level and to have that same kind of drive and focus. I mean, this is their life. This is how they feed themselves and feed their families. It's not a hobby. Nobody's doing it as a hobby. They're doing this. This is their life. This is their only avenue out of poverty. You know, so when you're immersed in that culture and that mentality, is, you know, you can't help but be absorb that.
So did you feel like you were going home in a way when you went to Thailand because you vibed with them more than maybe other styles across the planet?
Yeah. I felt like I was, but I also was such a foreigner and someone that didn't belong and someone that was viewed as, oh, here's this guy that's going to come here. He's going to give up. We're going to make him give up, you know? So I was very much an outsider until I showed them I proved myself, you know. That was, once that happened, I was like, I'm just surrounded in that same kind of mentality, that same outlook on what this is, why we're doing it. In that aspect, that's what I love so much about it. Because when you're here, you're surrounded by all different walks of life, all different motivations, all different reasons for doing this thing. You know, obviously you have the fighters, but you also have everybody else, which is like 90% of the gym. So it's like being in a gym where the only people that are there for the same reasons that you're there for.
So was it like a joke, for not a joke, but like just a part of the Thai style or the Thai culture that if a foreigner came in, they would say amongst themselves, you know, like, let's see how long this dude lasts, or guy or girl, just to like, because they have so many people coming in from around the world. They're just like, all right, this person's here now. They're all gung ho. Let's see in 2 weeks, like this person will be fucking gone. Is that kind of like the vibe at the beginning until you proved yourself?
Oh yeah, without question. I mean, when they called me up to do my first pad session, the entire gym stopped what they were doing and stood there and watched me.
It's a lot of pressure.
There was a lot of pressure on me. It was pretty awful. But like, the only thing I was thinking in my head is, don't you dare slow down or show any kind of weakness. You know, like that. If you do that, it's fucking over. I'm like, you better die before you stop. So I mean, after that first day, they were like, all right, this guy's not fucking around. Because I mean, most nowadays certainly, but back then, you know, not many foreigners didn't go over there. People didn't. It wasn't like a thing people did. There wasn't any foreigners were at the camp that I was at. There was all Thais, no English, no nothing. You know, they didn't. It wasn't a typical thing for people to go over there and learn as it is today. So yeah, they were just like, oh, this fucking American soft ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him out of here real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm also interested. What are the differences in sparring approaches with Thai versus Western? Because I've only ever experienced being in a gym in New York. I've never been to Thailand. Yeah. What
Yeah.
are kind of the different styles of sparring? What do they believe is best? What's like the best approach? How do they do things when it comes to sparring over there?
Yeah. It's I mean, much more geared towards technique, timing, placement, rhythm, all that kind of stuff. They don't. I mean, yeah, they'll, every once in a while you'll see them go spar, but even when they spar hard, it's all about control. Like nobody's trying to. You're not trying to knock each other out. You know, it's more of a, like you're playing a game of chess. Like you might be trying to dominate somebody, but you're not trying to dominate somebody by hurting them. You're trying to show your dominance
Mm.
by your technique and ability. Like if you can dominate someone by going slow and controlled, like that takes extreme amount of skill. Like anybody can just go hard or go fast and overwhelm someone, but to be able to do it in a slow technical manner, like that takes some serious skill and ability level. And again, they of course they're fighting all the time. They can't risk doing stupid shit in the gym. I mean, they're fighting every month or two, sometimes every couple of weeks. So their sparring is always more on the technical approach.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they'll do some boxing sparring, but like with big ass gloves, and you know that's when they might go a little bit harder, throw a little bit more power. But you know, it's kind of like nobody's really throwing hard shots to the head. I mean, they'll kick each other pretty good once in a while, but even then, it's you're not losing sight of unnecessary damage or injury.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I was looking up the records of the ties that you fought and just a lot of the guys over there and how it compares to the frequency of fighting. And I'm reading some of these records and it's like fucking like 520 and 110, and I'm just like, this dude's been
Yeah,
fighting for, you know, 15 years. So averaging that out in my head, I'm one fight a month or one fight every 3 to 5 weeks, whatever it is. The in order
yeah,
to sustain that, it has to be something where the sparring is less violent, less aggressive, like more in tune with
yeah.
keeping your body in shape and performative in between fights.
Yeah, 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 for certain. I mean, that's all it is when you're having that high level of competition and fighting. Like you can't risk that shit on the outside. I mean, everything you're doing is working on your conditioning, your timing, your placement, your accuracy. I mean, if you do that right, then the fight will be the fight. You don't need to fight on the outside.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you're aware of it, but there are these channels online that put together sparring compilations of the Thais that come over and do these camps in U.S., Canada, wherever. Like, what Thai comes to the West and puts on uh, demonstration, and then also sparring with people that show up to the
Uh-huh.
camp. And there are, some guys that get in there with dudes like Saenchai, and they're like wailing on him, like trying to fucking knock
Yeah,
this dude out that could put them on the floor in
yeah,
2 seconds. And
yeah,
you see him playing around at first, and then all of a sudden it's like he flips a switch, and it's like, you violated the terms of our agreement. Like,
yeah,
now you have
yeah,
to learn a lesson. So it's just like you see the differences in approach and kind of like the hard sparring mentality in a lot of gyms in America, where you come in and you try to like prove yourself in a sparring session rather than learn and play around.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard to do that, especially when you're in a physical, confrontational kind of thing, you know, to not let your ego get involved, and to look at the long term progression that you're trying to make. Like, yeah, you can win this sparring match, but are you getting any better from this? You know, are you developing from this? Like, it should be to where we're both improving out of this. You know, we're keeping each other sharp. We're holding each other accountable enough and pushing it to that degree, but not to enough to where anybody's going to get hurt or unnecessarily injured. I mean, we're all trying to get better here. And if you're trying to prove yourself in this singular moment, that's very short-sighted, and which contributes to a lot of people's lack of progression, because that's what they think the goal is here, to like prove yourself in that moment. You're not really getting any better, and that's why you do see that lack of progression in a lot of fighters and a lot of gyms, because that's all they're thinking about is just beating each other's head and not really actually improving.